In the world's major cities at the turn of the century, most of the horses had been replaced by buses or by electric trolleys, like in 1911 Berlin. Toronto, around 1915, was looking more like a modern city. London, 1914. In Paris, by 1920, boulevards were now equipped with modern drainage systems. People could now take advantage of the public lavatories. In Berlin, fast commuter trains shuttled workers to the factories. Better train systems meant cities could continue to expand outwards into the suburbs. The growth of the modern city was a patchwork process, as better streets and a solid infrastructure replaced what was there or wasn't there before. To handle the crush of commuters, underground trains, subways were built, the first one in London. A new subterranean world of pipes carried water directly into the home and sewage in the opposite direction. Electricity, telephone wires, and gas pipes were all buried underground. As in London, subways soon sprang up in Budapest, Paris, and Berlin. In 1905, the New York subway was just a year old. By 1920, rush hour was a dreaded part of the day for most city commuters. Paris in the 20s. The number of cars was doubling every 3 years in Europe, almost keeping pace with the cars on the American roads. To cope with the chaos, traffic laws were put into place and licenses issued. The modern atmosphere of the big city had a liberating effect. Café Cruel in The Hague was popular among the fashionable set. Berlin, by 1926, was a worldly metropolis. There was a huge contrast between the new wide boulevards and the way city centers looked before modernization. In Paris and elsewhere, advertising blossomed around the turn of the century. Technology and industry led to an ever-growing middle class. Who liked to spend their money in the new department stores like Galeries Lafayette in Paris, birthplaces of the consumer society. Other department stores, Wertheim in Berlin or Selfridges in London, also drew in customers with their reasonable prices. These were the new temples of consumerism, like the Renner department store in Dresden, Germany. Since the turn of the century, escalators could now whisk tired shoppers from one floor to another. And the number of shoppers grew, along with the demand for more goods. Disposable income was put to use, and more people were able to climb a rung or two up the social ladder. In Brazil, cities took on a distinctly European flavor. Fashions and urban styles had a similar feel all over the world, thanks to Hollywood movies and other types of mass communication. Tokyo was affected as well. Western clothing was replacing the kimono, just as traditional clothes were now disappearing in Europe. Nightlife in Tokyo had a real international flavor. Berlin. No city embodied the liberties of the new century more than this. Open to every experiment, crassly commercial, hectic, pleasure-seeking Berlin. But there was another side to all the glitter. The anonymity of living among a million people also meant more prostitution and crime. Older generations of Berliners never would have recognized this new metropolis. Moral strictures were relaxed, and the attitude now was anything goes. America's big cities also continued to grow. Although urban poverty still existed, the 1920s were real boom years. An improved infrastructure meant better transportation, water, and city services that more and more people could enjoy. Manhattan seemed like the center of the universe. Buildings punched up toward the sky, symbols of unlimited progress. By the time the Empire State Building was finished in 1931, space was the latest commodity, and the only direction to go was up. The Empire State Building, a miracle of design and steelwork, was erected within a year from prefabricated parts and cost less to build than estimated. It rose 1,250 feet above street level and held its place as the tallest skyscraper in the world until the middle of the century. Function was the new mood in architecture. As new buildings reached higher and higher, lighter materials had to be used. The modern skyline was born. Vertigo, 1920s style. City skylines were not all the same. Each had its own personality and quirks, just like the people who walked the streets below. The Chrysler Building stood tall as a recently minted citizen of New York, a shining beacon of the new 20th century metropolis.